Hello everyone, I hope all of you are taking care of yourselves. We've already finished theme 6, that was Bhakti and Sufism. We're now going to have a look at theme 7, and before I begin I'd like to repeat myself. I hope all of you have got the notes and have been writing them down in your classwork or any other notebook, which we can compile properly later. Do go through the notes, but don't forget to read the textbook as well. I've already sent the links through which you can download them, the ebooks, and we'll just move ahead with theme 7 then. And also, in case you have any queries, please feel free to get in touch with me. Well, theme 7 deals with the imperial city of Vijayanagar, situated in South India, in present-day Karnataka. It's also known as Hampi. Today it's a very famous tourist destination. Just a second. So Vijayanagar, Vijay means victory and Nagar means city. So Vijayanagar literally means the city of victory. The time period we look at is 1336 to 1648. So Vijayanagar was the area, and it had 4 dynasties or 4 different ruling families. It started with the Sangama dynasty, then the Saluva dynasty, Tuluva dynasty, and finally the Aravidu dynasty. So the first dynasty's name I took was the Sangama dynasty. So it was established by the Sangama dynasty by 2 brothers who belonged to that family, named Harihara and Bukka. The most famous king to have ruled Vijayanagar belonged to the 3rd dynasty, that is the Tuluva dynasty. His name was Krishnadeva Rai. So Vijayanagar flourished till 1646. However, it was discovered, or it was discovered much later during the 1800s by Colonel Colin Mackenzie. I need you to very carefully just pay attention to these 2 words. When I say who founded the dynasty, it means who established the dynasty, alright? But when I say who found the dynasty, it means who discovered the dynasty. So in case it comes like fill in the blanks, who founded the Vijayanagar Empire? Harihara and Bukka, right? But who found or who discovered the Vijayanagar Empire? It would be Colonel Colin Mackenzie, which means Colin Mackenzie came in the picture years later after the Vijayanagar Empire. But he found it like you find treasure, so that's a similar idea there. So just be careful with the spellings of these words. The sources that we've used to recreate the history of the empire are mostly the works of foreign travelers. The names of these travelers are Domingo Pace, Fernando Nunes, and Niccolo de Conti. In fact, all the sources also in your textbook would be excerpts from the travel accounts of these travelers. We've also found literature in Telugu, Kannada, Tamil and Sanskrit, and we've helped it recreate the history of the dynasty. And then we have temple recordings. Very interestingly, Vijayanagar, situated in the south, during the medieval ages was a Hindu kingdom. It's important because at this time the rest of its neighbors, except Orissa, which was a little further away, its immediate neighbors were Muslim rulers, the sultans of Deccan. So it's important to see how, although this was a Hindu kingdom, it flourished and it did very well, and also it had both the communities of Hindus and Muslims living together peacefully within its kingdom. In the north, its neighbors were the sultans of Deccan, like I've said, and further away you had Orissa, and the rulers in Orissa were the Gajpati rulers. Our first subtopic is going to be political system and administration. How were they running the kingdom? How was the government functioning? You had something known as the Amara Nayaka system. What is the meaning of Nayaka? Nayaka are basically chiefs who have forts and who have armed support. Now, Amara Nayaka here meant it was something more like the Ikta system, which was being followed in North India. Ikta system is basically, or if you remember the syllabus of Form 11, where we had to look at how there was the crown or the king, and then under him there were various nobles or feudal lords, and under them there were knights, and so on and so forth. So similar idea was also taking place here in the Maranayaka system, which in North India was being followed as the Ikta system, where there would be a king, and then the king would give away land to these feudal lords or people to noble families or knights, and these feudal lords would then maintain an army and be in charge of collecting the revenue and giving it to the king. In times of war, of course, the king had his own personal army, but apart from that, all these feudal lords under the king would also send their army. What work did these chiefs under the Maranayaka system do? They governed territories given to them by the Raya. The Raya means the king, the Raja. They collected taxes from peasants, craftsmen and traders. They used some revenue for personal use, of course, and they maintained a contingent of elephants and horses for war, and they sent tributes or gifts to kings. So there were basically, like I mentioned, two types of armies. One was the personal army of the king, and the other was the feudal army under each feudal lord or under each Nayaka. The city, change the slide please, the city, capital and around. Pace mentioned in his travel accounts that the capital was so huge that he could not see it from one spot, even though he was standing atop a hill. There were hills, groves of trees and conduits of water. A similar mention of this, what I just mentioned in detail, you would find in source number 3. So when you're doing the sources for this chapter, you should find them very easy because most of it would be discussed in your notes. Unlike other chapters where they are discussed in notes, but then they're also much more extensive in their own way. The first subtopic under the city is water resources or hydraulic systems. Well, the main river there was the Tungabhadra. So the Tungabhadra river formed a natural basin. The empire, or the capital rather, Vijayanagar, was surrounded by granite hills that formed a girdle. Reservoirs, there were reservoirs there of various sizes. It's very interesting. See, if it's although the river is a natural basin, if that whole area is surrounded by granite hills and forests, it's not just going to have a natural defense system, it's also going to have a natural ecosystem, which is going to help in the cultivating of its resources. Tanks were also built, so there were also man-made artificial tanks. The public tank was known as the Kamalapuram tank, which means this was used by the subjects living under the king. There was also a canal known as the Hiriya Canal, which separated the urban center from the urban core. Sorry, which separated the sacred center from the urban core. So sacred center, since we know this is the Hindu kingdom, it would have a lot of temples, and it's near these temples that the royal center would be situated. So temples and royal center are going to be together, and then there's the Hiriya Canal, which is going to be like this division, and beyond that, in the other side, you would have the urban center or the market and places where the rest of the people would live. Royal enclosure and temple complexes had a well-connected water distribution system for royalties and ceremonies. So there's already one big tank for the public known as the Kamalapuram tank. There are various other reservoirs also, but this is the most important tank. The Hiriya Canal then separated the sacred and royal center from the market or urban area.